This is where the fun begins.
Dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Never fails every single time.
It's a delay.
Welcome back to another episode of the Sithcast podcast, a Star Wars podcast where we pretty much talk anything and everything Star Wars. I'm your host, PJ the Paradox Nerd, alongside my co-host, Sean Solo.
What's up?
And the Sith Queen herself, Nilda. Guys, we got a special guest tonight, and he is walking right up to the camera. We got the heavy Mando himself, Tait Fletcher, Hazvizla.
Yes,
thank you, Tait, for hopping on our humble little show.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate you having coming on our show and talking pretty much Star Wars and heavy Mando and everything else.
I've been looking forward to it ever since I heard about it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I mean,
yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
I'm glad that we're doing that. I'm glad it's it's like there's a lot of slips twixt the cup and the lip, as they say, and so I'm really glad that we're all sitting here and it's going down.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So usually with any guests that come on our show, we try to get to know them, in terms of their love for Star Wars and things like that. So, first question, right off the bat, what are your top 3 Star Wars movies of all time?
The top 3 Star Wars movies?
Yeah.
Was the first 3.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Listen, and I say that with 100% knowledge that I'm correct first.
He is correct, by the way.
And then I say that because, we're the same age or whatever, right? And it's like if you grow up in certain eras, and if you grew up in the era I grew up in, man, like that was it. Really, and I felt like for myself that it was like when I saw The Mandalorian at first, and I was like, this is a take back to everything that brought me to that first start. That's what it felt like for me. Not to naysay anything about any other production or whatever, but for me as a fan, that's what it was. And I was mesmerized as a child by Star Wars, and then later as they came out, and then. You look at this, the way of the Jedi, and you look through the eyes of Yoda, and you're seeing this real mythology that's being built. It's a fabric that's woven that's not really in cinema or entertainment. Almost anywhere else you couldn't point to it like that, and that's what makes Star Wars so special and different than other things. It's a thing that I think is unsuspected to think of as that, but I believe that that's a huge part of like the golden finish of what Star Wars is.
It really is. Tait, were you born in like 71?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm born in 73. So we're from the same generation. Yeah. So, of course we're going to say it's the original trilogy because that's, when it was introduced and, you just have that love for it. And I don't know for you, but it was harder for me, like when they did the prequels to kind of accept it the way I did the original ones.
That's right.
But over time, I loved them.
The other thing I didn't like is like, they seem really corporatized. And they seem, it's like, oh, am I watching a Pepsi advertisement? Like this is.
Yeah. Well, they knew
and to me, that was like, it took it down. I'm like, why are we cheapening it in a way? And so then it's not fair. I say that with an immature mind because it's the ignorance of like what the time was. Again, you got to take the era into account. What are they doing? They're just at that time, the internet just pops.
Yeah.
Nobody experienced what internet hate or love or anything was before that, right? You look at that and those guys in that cast were kind of the first ones that were in this huge fan base that were subject to people going, here's my opinion. And it feels a certain way, right? And nobody had ever dealt with that before. So kudos to everybody in those early days of the internet that ever took heat because good Lord. And secondarily, they're trying to play with technologies that they don't have a grasp on yet. And so just like the volume that is like apex pinnacle perfect, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Green
yeah.
screens and stuff weren't like that. CGI wasn't like that then.
Right.
So I think that's also why the original, when it was all functional models and stuff, and it looks great still, seemed more authentic in a way, almost, you know, because they weren't playing with technologies that kind of made it look funny. And now technology is caught up. So it's like all those comparisons I understand aren't fair also, you know?
Yeah, I feel like when you're acting with the volume though, like does it feel like you're immersed like in that world versus like when they did the prequels, it was all blue screen, so they had to use a lot of imagination. But when you're, you know, I've just heard it on other interviews and stuff where it feels like, you know, you can almost get adapted to the scene and more connected to it because it feels like you're in the environment.
It's so true. Everything you're saying is accurate. And the green screen experiences, like in Jurassic World, there's a shot where I'm in a helicopter and I shoot a pterodactyl, GMO pterodactyl. It wasn't one of the good ones. And,
There you go.
you got to be careful nowadays, you guys. And so, but that, you know, we film a bunch in the helicopter, but then I'm on the ground in the helicopter and sight him up, and I'm looking at a green sheet of fabric with an X on it, right? And so that's simple. We're not moving and stuff, and so they can capture that pretty well in eye lines. But if there's a talking figure and there's an eye line, and I'm supposed to track it with a camera, and the actor's supposed, man, there's a lot of luck involved in capturing that, unless you do it very simply.
Right.
With the volume, when I was there in the ship, that's when it really struck me so hard, because you're there and there's, you know, 30 of you in the ship or whatever, and you're in this real environment where, and then monster comes, the shadow comes, and you can almost feel the concussion on the boat when the tail hits.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy what your mind does. There's a shot where I'm watching a ship come up on the horizon, and he's coming in deep. He gets higher, then he goes up over the ceiling and lands over there. And I'm just it's like,
oh my God,
that stuff. You know,
it's like you're at a ride at Disney. You're just like, what the hell?
Everybody's talking about the metaverse and what that was at that time. It was a very hot topic a year ago or whatever. And people talking about building real estate in there and all that. And I was like, yeah, it's where everybody can be alone together or something. I go, but it's like that. It's like you're inside a video game with your friends playing against the video game in a way. It's a weird, it's like
we're surrounded with a huge screen.
We're inside the metaverse right now. Is what it felt like to me.
Well, I was gonna say, Tate, I'm just picturing it right now and how you're describing, like just like being on set with the volume. I would literally cry underneath that helmet. I'll be like, oh my God, this is Star Wars. Did you have that feeling?
Those helmets are useful.
Oh my God.
Were you smiling like the first day on set?
Oh man. It was it's eerie, you know, because you don't know what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh really?
It was I don't know. It's not obvious when I auditioned that it's Lucasfilms. And what it became obvious later is I think I knew like the day before I got a call, and I'd already gotten the job of Alpha Trawler that opens up Mando, right?
Yeah.
And opens up Disney Plus. They were launching the platform with that first 90 seconds of Mando, which I think they played at the Super Bowl. It was a big deal, right? And so I opened with that, but then I get a call, you know, and we didn't film it, but then I know I'm playing that character. Get a call the next day, and they say, "Hey, Favreau saw your audition, and he really wants you to play this this other character." And I was like, "Cool," you know, because it's just like, I'm glad I'm at the party. I maybe lost one job for another. Whatever. Right. I didn't know I was playing both things, and I didn't know what the other thing was until I went to Legacy Effects, and they go, you know, strip down, put on this Under Armour, lock your stuff in the closet. And you're in this amazing, I mean, first of all, just to go in a showroom like that, it's like, it's incredible. You know, it's like you walk in and you're greeted with, what is it? The water figure from,
the Abyss?
The Abyss?
There's that guy's in there. There's a guy from The Shape of Water that's full figurine.
Yes.
There's a full,
I love that
where
movie.
there's 3 stormtroopers and Darth Vader, and they're like, you know, 9 feet tall, like proper, like and
lifestyle.
There's modern warfare guys coming out of the ceiling, and this whole, it's like crazy. And you're walking around, these artists are carving foots of pterodactyls or of whatever, and creating and you're just like, wow. And so you're awestruck, by the whole thing. You're watching magnificence of excellence of craftsmanship right here, and here's their history, and it's just cool. So they start measuring. Maybe a half hour into it, somebody comes in, they bring in this helmet. And I go, oh my God, am I Boba Fett right now? Like,
hell yeah.
Was it the blue color or was it a different color?
It was sexy. It was all flat black.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
The Lamborghini of Mando.
Color.
Yeah, it was dope. And they go, no, we're not sure. And so the people building it aren't sure. To the fact that, like, I remember looking at my bags. I have Ziploc bags of my Under Armour in it just for storage, and with all my gear and helmet and all that stuff. And written on it, it says heavy bounty hunter. Ooh. And they don't even know what it is. That they have these just generalized kind of things. This is what this character is. And so the day that I walked out with the suit made and everything, all the Disney, everybody, all the execs are there to go, because this is their toy. I don't really know. I'm not present to what's happening,
Right.
And then I do all the poses for the toys and all the stuff. And I'm like, this is bananas. And then I walk on. I did that before I walk on set. Right. And to walk on set is like what those guys do inside a warehouse, and what they build and create is amazing. And then the texture of the smoke and the fires and it's just this sexy, warm kind of area, this cave where we're about to meet Emily, and then Emily walks in.
Oh man.
I mean,
you had goosebumps on top of goosebumps on top of goosebumps.
That's Sean's one of his top favorites.
Heavy headed.
Yeah, mine too, because I actually met her in person too, and she's super duper nice.
She is
a nice
best. Her husband's the best. Her dogs are the best. Her dog Norma Jean has this beautiful, some wonderful fan made an armorer outfit for Norma Jean, and she comes to some of the cons, and really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had a pleasure to meet her like last year, and I had to skip out real quick out of work to go meet her because I know she was only there for like a day, and she was so nice and very accommodating. Say, okay, let's get you your signatures. Okay, let's take a picture. And what a nice person.
She's something else. Yeah. So she walks in, and there's the fur and the gold, and you're just like, it's amazing. And then she talks, and you're like, and I've never met Emily before. I have no idea what's under this. I don't know anything about her. Right. And you're just taken in, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tait, the one question I do have, where were you when you got the call, and how did it feel to realize I'm going to be on Star Wars?
God, I don't know where I was when I got the call. In LA. And then it was like I saw an email or something that it was one of the correspondences that I knew because it says Lucasfilms then.
Okay.
And I was like, it's like cool. But when you're inside the fishbowl, it's hard to know what the temperature is. It's just what it is. And so in a way, as a performer, like this is my craft, this is my job. And so I go into it with a removed sense of that in a way, because I need to be removed to a great degree to be able to be and access this character. Right. Because he's not the idea about being starry-eyed about this thing, right? It's another thing. And so and then the other thing is, I don't know what a big deal it is. I don't know the end. It's like Nike when they're starting. You don't know that they're going to be Nike, but you can't unsee the swoosh after. You can never think of them as a struggling company.
Yeah.
But like in the, so we didn't know where we were going. We didn't know, am I going to be in one episode? Am I going to be in, we don't really know that stuff. We're playing these characters and like, cool, we're here to play and let's make this as strong a performance as we can make. And the co-stars in that, in those opening scenes, were just phenomenal. And, Ryan Watson that helped put together a little fight between Brendan and myself, and Lateef and myself. Lateef Crowder did that, and then I met Brendan that day, and I thought, God, what a great team to be on. And then, knowing that, and then being able to be on this whole last year with them, real special, man. All the people, the whole experience. People say the pinnacle experience. I don't know. There's so many great ones that wash over the others, and there's none that I mean, there's standout stuff, but it's like, then somebody's like, remember that? And it's like something about, you know, something not about the show, but like the stuff that's going on with the crew that you're present to and the struggles that people are overcoming and how they're showing up. It's really a magical place to be in. And I think a lot of that is due to Jon Favreau, because it comes from the top down for sure.
I would say that, you know, like one of my favorite things to see online was I love the relationship that you had with everyone on your last episode. I love that, you know, like Emily and Katie were all like posting you and like saying how much of an honor it was to work with you. And especially Emily, you guys really had a good friendship.
We got to
have a good friendship.
Yeah. And how, I mean, you know, like I say always, when people like, they say, oh, this about your life or that, or it's like, man, the most special thing is the people that I get to meet that, you know, that you're like, because that's life, right? Is like these relationships that you get to grow into. And it's been real special. I'm really, because you don't expect that. I don't expect that, you know, you go to work and then everybody's self-absorbed doing their thing and all that. And we just clicked. Everybody on that show clicked. It was a real magical moment in time, you know?
Yeah, I could tell that you guys clicked really well, because I guess the clip that you guys posted on Instagram, which was like the saying goodbye from the Mandalorian. All of you can see it in your eyes that all of you were just trying so hard not to get like very teary-eyed.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I was gonna say is that like one of my questions is like, how heavy is that suit? You know,
it depends. I always say it depends on what time of the day you ask me.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think that all the cosplayers and all that will recognize, like, it's like erosion, right? It's a slow burn, and then you're like, then that ankle set in or something, you know. But it's all of it, and it depends, you know. Like the suit itself is its thing and its own constrictions, and how do I find my voice, as it were? Like, how do I make him strong and apparent and decisive in motion with the limitations that are here and all that, because Heavy's not a guy that is going to take a misstep or something like that, you know. And so that kind of thing is part of it. And then, you know, the jetpack and the gun is a whole nother aspect, because that jetpack sits off your back, you know, 18 inches or whatever, and is weighted maybe as much as the suit. Oh, man. And then the gun is and that's on the side, and so now you're back fighting that, and then and so there's one scene that I was like, and all I was doing is standing there. But I'm standing there and it's loaded in full kit, and it's when Wesley Ragnar is walking down to get his helmet, and it's like you're just fighting. I just need to fight to stay in posture, just to stay straight. It's like that's the fight right now, and that's what it is. And so it's different at different times, but like when you're in the flow of it, like it's sitting around you don't like. When you're in the flow of it and you're in motion, it's like we're doing this. This is what it is. You know?
Yeah, adrenaline.
And you don't think about it. It's just part of the body. It's like this is the motion. I'm going to be here. This is going to you know, and you just go through it.
I think it's cool how you go back and watch your own episodes too, because there are a lot of actors that I don't watch my own stuff. But
I don't watch a lot of stuff, but it's Star Wars, you know. So.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Now, have you seen one particular scene that you were in and you just went, "Damn, I'm badass"?
Man, you know what it was? One of my favorite shots in that whole show. All of us are walking off on Mandalore on our, you know, glass planet. It's just been, and there's a shot, and the gun is up, and the gun is straight up in the air, and we're just walking. It's just a back shot of that into the horizon.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorite shots of the whole thing, visually. But it's there's, you know, and it's the whole thing is strong and bad. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, it's just what it is. It's like and that gun, the choices with it are cool. You know, like being inside when we started to get attacked and we're not sure whether they're ours or not, and then oh my god, and you know, right before the final death scene happens, before we run down the corridor and get trapped. You know, and then when the guys are right in front of me and landing and flip it up and coming in, and it's like there's great shots of that. It's just fierce, aggressive battles, which is dope. It was like the first time I flew down and saved Mando in episode 3, and you know, it's just like this is a gun. This is like this is Tombstone and John Wick in outer space.
It's like a whole
Yeah,
it's a Western
yeah.
in outer space.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
because I was gonna say, you know, in terms of all the Mandalorian armor, and I'm not saying because you're here, Heavy Mandalorian is probably one of the coolest like designs for a Mandalorian because you got the minigun.
yeah,
Because you're just straight out the badass.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like you had never seen that in Star Wars. Have like when's the last time you saw someone with a minigun?
You know, it's nothing like that. The only one that had well, in my, like again historically, my favorite character in Star Wars would be Chewbacca, and so it's like Chewbacca's gun was at that time like he's the the fiercest battler on the planet, and like I like that, I like that, it's a good look. It's good to have that around.
Yeah.
That's my next thing. They're like, Paz being passed is cool. I want to be Wrecker and Bad Batch. Let's do that.
Oh, nice. That would be awesome.
My God.
Right? Yes.
Dude, if you are Wrecker,
I can see
that.
that.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's perfect.
Kind of bitch, right?
Happen.
Believable.
Oh yeah. No, you can pull that off.
You gotta talk to Dave Filoni. Someone's gotta talk to Dave Filoni about that, or someone. The Bad Batch has to come.
I think that would be such a powerful show. And I also think, a prequel to like, let's see the days when Mandalore was on top of the world. Let's see when it was shining in a thriving metropolis. Let's see all that. Like, I think that's super. There's so many, and that's what I love. Their attention to details, like the way they weave Andor in and all of that. And it's like this kind of seamless play to this thing I saw when I was a little boy. I'm like, this is badass. And it's endless, how they weave it together like that. So yeah, there's room for all that, right?
Well, I definitely see you playing Wrecker.
I see that. I can't unsee it now. Thanks, Tate.
You're welcome.
No, we can't see it. That has to happen.
Let's go ahead. God of War 2. We'll just say God of War 2.
You just need the glossy eye.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Honestly, that is oh my gosh, something. And we need to bring Heavy Mando back, whether it be like a flashback scene or just like going back to like the days of Mandalore where Paz was there and everyone else was there. And let's not, we all know what happened. So hopefully that's not the end of Heavy Mando.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make a mock photo of Tate, like half of his head, and then remove the beard and then put him in Wrecker's body.
Do it.
We'll all start like a hashtag, and we all gotta like
Sean. We got
perfect.
Yeah, Sean, you gotta do it.
We can do it. We can do it now. We know people.
We do know people. We're just gonna address the chat real quick. We got quite a few here. We got Darth Kenobi in the house.
What's up, Santino?
What up, Darth?
We got Comics in the house. What's up, Comics? RMD Collective.
RMD.
Scott Berry in the house. Who else is here? OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars. Spice Runners in the lounge.
What's up,
Spice
Eben?
Runners Lounge in the house. We got Eben in the house. Who else is here? Facebook user Star Wars Addict 77. Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Bob Dylan in the house.
Yeah, wow. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, can't be easy at that age to get even online.
J2SO in the house. Jason,
what's up?
We got Doc Collector in the house. Scott Sharp.
Scotty.
Wow, we got quite a few here. Rolando Flores. What's up, Rolando? We got Dan, Dynamic Menace. What's up, Dan?
GMD.
Thank you for tuning. We got Thor Gunderson. This is the way. Absolutely.
Yes.
BMX Jedi in the house. Heavy in the house.
Anthony, what's up?
Pete's in the house. Who else is here? Benjamin Bowman. What's up, Ben?
Not Ben.
And his wife, Robin. Trooping with Robin. Let's see. I'm sorry. There's quite a few here. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Sean Miller. Did you get him?
Doc Smizzle. Faux Shizzle. My Smizzle. We got Jenny Kawaii in the house. What's up, Jenny? Thank you for tuning. Who else is here? We got Jose, General Kenobi Bunker.
What's up?
Who else?
We got Smoke 'em if you
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Oh snap! Sean Miller's in the house.
What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean? Whispers from the Warp. What's up, Whispers? Wait,
Dom. That's Dom.
Dom.
Dominic.
He's a listen, he's a Kenobi fan. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. The Koya Wena, what's up?
I love all the slide disses that come out with
Yeah. That shows you love them.
Yes. Doc Smizzle says Kratos would work. Wow.
Yeah.
Praying to see Bad Batch in live action. Yes, we need to see this happen.
Wouldn't that be dope?
Yeah.
Sean Miller says, Tate, if you play record, gotta shave the beard, buddy.
Brother, I'm not scared. Come on.
Yeah.
He's like, have you seen this face?
You know who's bothered about when I shave my beard? Dudes that are about my age that are sour that I shave my beard, which I think is so weird to wonder about another guy's hygiene. But I know it's out there. I understand. People like my beard more than me, I think, a lot.
Yes. Fellow Michigander, live 30 miles south of Tate's birthplace. It's like the big town around here.
Wow. You live in a little town then. Because my hometown, I think, is 6,000 people or something. You know, it's like,
wow.
But it is.
Wow.
It's where you would go to buy a car or whatever in Northern Michigan. Yeah. Welcome, Michigan. Right on.
Yeah. Lovely K. What's up? Thank you for tuning in. Anyway, guys, if you guys got a chance, just hit that little thumbs up button on your screen right there. Help support us, and help support our humble little channel. So let's continue on with the questions. Again, Tate, you've been in a lot of movies, and I'm pulling up your IMDb.
Yeah.
I know Sean has a question for you. Because
Sean's been waiting to ask you this question since I told him you were coming on.
All right.
But I'm looking at this list. You got really amazing movies under your belt. The Equalizer, John Wick, Sicario. Oh my god. John Wick is one of my favorite movies recently.
Dude, what a treat. One of the best things about that for me is the guys that made John Wick, Chad Stahelski and Dave Leitch, who were respectively Keanu's stunt double and Brad Pitt's back in the 90s, and then worked into second unit directors. And then they got this chance to direct this John Wick. And then all the guys that worked on The Matrix with them, 8 dudes, these OG stunt guys, they're all in the room in New York when we walk in to shoot that ballroom scene. And it's just you're just kind of in awe. First of all, the camaraderie and the brotherhood of those guys. And then, I'm in a room with legends. And then, John, it's amazing. It was amazing. What a time. Yeah.
How's Keanu? I heard
hardest worker in the room. Tireless and kind and all the things as advertised.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow. That's
awesome.
Which I sure wouldn't say if somebody doesn't work, we're not gonna pretend that happens. But I couldn't. He's a guy that I don't know very well, but I couldn't think of anything even that was a little unkind to say. It's just he's just a fine gentleman,
Yeah.
A lot of people say that about him.
Yeah.
And
people that have worked closely, I've never heard it. It's just that's not there.
Yeah. Lovely cases. I cried way too much over Pass this week.
I saw it on Instagram. Thank you, MK.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
I was screaming at 3 a.m. in my house going, Paz! I was like, what the fuck?
I was like,
and then I was hugging. I have a heavy Mando toy, and I was hugging it. I was like, no. I was like, what is going on here?
That's what we need is heavy Mando comfort pillows.
There you go.
The
snuggle buddies,
the old wrestling pillows.
Yeah. I remember the Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not
that's
a bad
awesome.
idea.
Yeah. But by the way, Tate.
So is that is that an unshaved wrecker face kind of?
Yes.
Dude,
yes.
Wait. Let's see what the rest of that is.
Blow him up.
Is that a dark saber?
Let me blow you up real quick. Oh wow, that's the dude. That is sick,
That's
dude.
sick.
Oh
So that
my
could
God.
be wrecker though.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
absolutely. That's
I can't
180%
you can't unsee it.
wrecker. You can't unsee it now. We need that to happen.
All right, Tate,
by the way,
I was gonna say, be honest. Did you get to keep one of your helmets from the
Yes.
show?
God, if only.
Oh,
And if only there were multiples.
Really?
You know, Tom and Jeremy had another, but yeah.
Wow.
And I would say that too, especially, you know, because I could get lost and forget. But, you know, stunt performers in the film business is like the most tiered caste system that exists in Western culture. It's insane. And to have a award show like the Oscars not represent stunts, which are the, you know, the trailers, they're all the act, they hold it together. They are that show in a lot of ways, and they don't even recognize them. They recognize everybody else, right? These people that give their lives and their bodies to this. And I just want to say, you know, there is 4 guys that shared that suit with me, and one of them I was so proud. He was on the back lot, I was in the main, and they're like, "We need heavy," and okay, we have another suit, but Jeremy and Tom aren't here, and there's Trevor that works and helped make the suit.
Wow.
And he's about 6'1". He's just like in the size, and he gets, and so he wore it one morning to do something.
Oh, that's cool. And
then Joe Schilling, also an old friend of mine from Fight Days, and working with him on a film now, and he wore it a day. And then Tom O'Connell put in a ton of work, and Jeremy Fitzgerald out of Brand X Stunts put in a ton of work. And I say that because none of that shit's easy. And none of the stuff they're doing is easy, and nobody really says their names, right? It's like you're in this thing where it's like sit down, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous for the level of performers that there are. There's not a Wonder Woman without Joanna. There's, you know what I mean? There's not, these things don't exist in that way without the excellence of these men and women that are performing that. And I think that it can't be said enough. And
absolutely.
I agree, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, you brought Heavy Mando to life, and honestly, you could see it on the chat. Like everyone loves you, man.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's just nothing but love. And you know, obviously, we'll talk about a little bit later about this. You know, that famous scene from last week. Yeah, you know, it's very emotional. But yeah, we'll get to Sean's question because I know he's been dying to ask.
I've got one question.
All right,
all right, so this is Jumanji 2. Here's the scene from it.
He wants to show the scene so bad.
I know. It's just it's just in case people that know, Tait was in Jumanji 2. Here's the one fight scene.
And he says, "I think I'm really strong." And then he's really fast too. And then and then in the scene later, I think they catch me landing, right?
Right. Yeah. Funny. Yeah. But question is The Rock that big, and can you take him?
100%, I would whoop that ass.
That's what I needed to know.
That's a silly question to where it's like, it's just yep.
I love it. I've been waiting all week to ask you that.
Yeah. And he's big. He's a proper.
Is he like 6'5"?
6'5", 6'6" type athlete. Is he 270? He's huge, thickly muscled everywhere except this tiny little waist. I mean, the guy, I don't know if he has a car, I don't know, but the dude's fit is anything, right? And he there's a shot of us, and he put it on his Instagram when we were filming that, and he's got his guys with him that take shots or whatever, and they're friends of his and whatever, and this guy's job is probably that. So it goes up on yahoo.com and all this kind of stuff, and it's like the narrative is Dwayne's fighting these 300-pound, 6'10" stuntmen trying to make this look as crazy as possible and all that, and none of us were that big. I mean, but I was one of the smaller ones at like 240, right? I was like one of the smaller, like there's all these old ex-pro football players. I mean, all my friends, Derek Graff and Malosi, and these guys are big, but they ramp it up. And so he takes a picture, and I swear to God, that picture, and I'm in the foreground of it. It's me and then him. And so I look bigger anyway, but I swear to God, they photoshopped it like 12% bigger. Cause I'm like, I look huge. And there's not a lot of guys that I look up to, but it's like, I'm like, we're real level, or just, he's big, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But you can still kick his ass. That's all that matters.
Oh, well, that's all that matters. As long as you kick his ass.
You kick his ass, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you know, that's a good segue. I mean, you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I know you mentioned that you train in 10th Planet, one of your as your thing. You know, jiu-jitsu is it's a very you know, hard martial arts to master.
Yeah.
And you're a black belt, correct, Tate?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Does that help you, like, in terms of a lot of scenes that in terms of like, yeah, because there's you know, especially that scene in when you're facing against the Praetorian guards, you know,
those guys.
Oh, dude, you could have taken them,
man. And I'm so glad they were my friends. I'm so glad it was them. The guys like Jason Chu, Diddy Darnell, Kurt Nelson, Daniel Stevens. They switched. You know, somebody had to go one day. Thank God, man. Much love to all those guys. But like I said, the whole thing was family. Even the guys killing me. It's just what I'm so proud to share that with them.
That's I have to say that's my ultimate favorite shot when you know, Katie says a word to you and then you just turn around and just look at her. That's the ultimate favorite shot of mine for his character.
Yeah.
Oh,
those arcs are so incredible. I think those little pieces, and I don't often get to play a part that has those. You know, I mean, like Jumanji that we just saw, it's like I'm that guy, and then later on I get, you know, have a thing with my boss and he kills me, and with a scorpion, I think, or a centipede, something like that. But it's like this has got arcs, and I didn't know that until the 3rd season also. But like, I loved watching the fans react because all the fans are like, "What? Who's Paz? He's a little salty." Right? He's not super cool to the guy that we love, like our hero. Like he's like kind of a ball buster about like what. But the thing is, and you talk about my relationship with Emily. You know, I was like an emissary of Emily, is how I saw my character. Like Paz is her
right hand man,
and her interaction with the world and with her ideology about Mandalore. And about our history and our ethics and our tradition and why that's important. And so I've always been the guy that holds the line of tradition, of what that is and why. Is change bad? No, it's inevitable. It's coming, right? But man, if you go too fast, maybe that's a change that's not sustainable. And so Pa's kind of a guy that's trying to temper that with Mando. It's not a personal thing in that way. And as it goes on, it's not a personal thing with the dark saber. Paz isn't looking for recognition in that. He's not looking to be that's not it. He has the goals of Mandalore in the highest part of his mind.
He's honorable.
I'm at least from a lineage that can hold this, and he's this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and at least do that. And that's kind of that part. And then in the part when I'm in the cave and I'm telling everybody, you know, I've had my differences with this man. But that's the whole thing about change is coming. Danger's here with consequence, and we need unity.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to forego all this, and they're willing to forego all this, and let's be fucking strong together.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing, and then the way it ended, I mean, whew, yeah, really, really proud of the whole thing, man. What a thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry, Nilda.
I was just saying, I watched that episode like 6 times.
Yeah, I watched that scene like 10 times. No joke. I just kept on rewinding it because, like, you know, one of the reasons why I talk about jiu-jitsu, because, you know, jiu-jitsu is all about flow and everything. Like that scene flowed so well.
Yeah.
You know, when you were fighting 3 Praetorian guards at the same time, and just like, you know, just like the motion and just like it was one of the best like fight choreography I've ever seen since
Natalie Padilla and JJ Dashnaw led that shit. Natalie was JJ's assistant, and the excellence of both of them in putting that choreography together. You know, she's a high-level gymnast and has huge fight acuity, and people with IQs that see things in that way of movement, man, they can put together beautiful things, and then to know how a camera works too, which they're both very adept at, because the camera sees a different thing than is actually happening. And so what are you reproducing? And then again, like I said, my friends that are here, excellent movement specialists, martial artists, and just beautiful body mechanics. Tom O'Connell that helped double me in this. You know, his movements as an athlete. And that's what I look for. I look in this last scene. I'm like, okay, which parts are Tom? I'm trying to dissect who is who, right? But a lot of that stuff, it's like I say all that stuff. Like I said, there's 4 or 5 Praetorian guards, right? And there's only 3. But the thing is it's like there's so much volume of work that everybody's being pulled 1,000 ways, and like the way everybody carries the weight together on this show is it makes you feel so supported. It's just a real beautiful thing, man. And I love reading. Awesome. And like I said, I hope that the finale is everything that I hope it is, you know, because I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to watch it tonight after this.
Yeah. Yeah. I love I don't know if it was you, but like, yeah, when you pulled that, one of the Praetorian Guard's sword, like, you know, it stabbed you, just kept, you pulled it. That's like,
grab his throat.
Yeah. My God, dude. That was a beautiful freaking touch, man.
Let's go ahead and grab the throat on the way down and just carry it all the way down. All right.
Yeah, like you were like, it just shows that you're not giving up. Still.
No.
Like, you're that.
I said online, I was like, listen, I won 482 fights just in the last 10 minutes, and then I lost the last one. You know what I mean? You can't win all.
Yeah. You went down like a champ, though.
But it's the one that counts because you help like your fellow Mandalorians get away.
Yeah.
You know, without you, I don't think, you know, they would have
survived.
They would have survived.
And I think they need a flag to carry. You know, they need to feel that. And I think that also, you know, as far as the character coming back or any of that kind of talk, and believe me, the last days, John came up, hey, thanks so much for your work and everything. It was great. And all and cool. Good. I go, hey, you know, maybe there's a back to tank and the helmet next season. We don't know, right? Like,
yeah.
And he's looked at me like I must be insane, which must be like he's like, we're already so far. Like, you know, I don't know what he thought, but
you're like, are we talking about cloning? Isn't there cloning? What can we do?
But I felt that in Equalizer too. You know, when I fought Denzel and all that, I thought, can I be his Russian brother that's just doing dips in prison, then comes up to Equalizer too? But you always kind of, you know, it's like you get a feeling with these characters, and you want to play with that more. But I love it. I love that where Paz is, because what he leaves is just as great or more immeasurable in his immortality of what he's left behind. And I think that's powerful, you know?
Yeah.
I do have to ask, though, because I know a lot of people in the chat asked, who is Paz's baby mama?
That's what I asked Filoni.
Oh.
Who's the baby mama? Was it the armor?
I know, right? It's a lot to know.
You spent a lot of time with her.
Yeah.
It's one of those drunken nights.
Yeah, because that's your kid.
When I said that, I said, so who's young Ragnar's mother? And I don't know if I spoil anything by saying it, but I will say that it wasn't decisive. He might not be sure. Also,
yeah, that's true.
I think also he's a foundling. Maybe he's a refugee from some planet that I just found somewhere and grabbed up by the scruff.
Oh, that's true too.
You know,
that's a great point.
He could have been adopted.
But I do know that young Wesley Kimmel, I love very much, and his dad John. What beautiful folks to spend time with on set, and you know, to be a father for a few days to his kid, and it was dope. And then I saw him again on another show, which is just like, again, it's just like family comes together. It's amazing to see him. And I love the idea of what they do with his character as he comes forward, especially with this loss. You know, I mean, we're marked by our losses. We're in this life, we're marked by our fractures. We're seen because we're in our most humble state. In that fraction, we grow out of it. And you can see spirit and determination and a relentless need to overcome and all those things, and imbuing that in that young character, I think, is going to make him a very powerful character later. I mean, it's huge. It's huge.
Well, you know, something that came to mind is that since you have a son or a foundling, how about you play him in the future when he grows up to be the next heavy Mando?
I'll be his grandfather by then.
There you go.
That's all right. Not tripping.
Yeah, but anyway, you know, obviously Wrecker is one. You know, the one thing about, like, you know, Star Wars and fans is that sometimes, like, when there's a lot of love for a certain character, like you never know, like they bring him back, you know, like for Maul, like they'll make it happen. Like Maul was like one of those characters that people are like, oh my God, he died so fast. I really wanted to know more about this badass character. So who knows? Like maybe in the future that like
also Axe Woves, right? Yeah, Axe Woves has passed more than once.
Yeah,
right.
So
And then that's what, and then Filoni comes up to me and goes, you know, who really dies in Star Wars anyway?
Exactly.
Drop shit like that and then walk off, you know.
Yeah, exactly. A couple questions though in the chat. I know we answered Dan's question about from the Facebook group about let's see, he wanted to know, is there any plans of playing another Star Wars character in the future? Obviously, I know Wrecker would be a great character. And you know, a lot of us are looking forward to just you coming back, hopefully in the near future in Star Wars, because you did such a great job with Heavy Mando.
I want to say that right there, that doesn't land light. I mean, that means a ton to me, because that's one of the things too, and I don't say often, but because I don't want to be reflective about like that it's for the fans. I want to build this authentic thing that isn't kind of pushed around by another idea of what my outcome is supposed to be. But the idea that I carried it well for the fans as I look back on it is that's what I hope to do. I hope to, you know, it's like every job I ever did. You know, I get hired by these guys to do this job, and I hope that they're goddamn happy that it was me and not somebody else. I hope that I did it solid, that they're not like, we wish we would have got Batista, you know, or whatever. It's like, I just want to do a solid job for the team. And I'm real proud of the way that I did carry it, and I'm glad it landed that way for everybody, because it was a real privilege for me.
Yeah, let me tell you, like a lot of people are very happy with the performance, and you know, and you've been like a huge fan favorite now. A lot of people are sad. I'm hopefully you felt that love, you know, like this past week. Sean Piet was from the Facebook group says, how long did you live in Michigan? Do you miss the brutal winters?
You know, I say Michigan is a nice place to be from, because of those winters. It's not even the winters, man. It's like the dark. It's like there's 9 months where it's a little gloomy all the time, and living in that can be tough. And I lived there. Was born in Alpena and lived in Lansing and in Ypsi for a bit, until I was like 19, 20 years old, I guess. And then I fled the state to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I kind of
warmer weather
back and forth between New Mexico and LA a lot since the 2000s.
Yeah. Well, a lot more warmer weather in New Mexico. Another question is, how many figures of Paz Vizsla do you have?
You mean in my garage right now? Like, cause I've got cases, kids.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm gonna share something. I have this ready. Obviously, you have the Hot Toys Heavy Mandalorian.
So that was a special edition one that was limited, a limited run, right? The first year. Well, I'll tell you about that after you're finished. Go ahead.
It sold out, number one.
Right.
It sold out pretty quick. Yeah. And then now because of the popularity of the character, they are making another one. But this time it's from the Book of Boba version.
Right. And so when I went to film Book of Boba, my friend at Sideshow Toys sends me this, right? And he says, hey, I got this thing for it. Now I got to tell the fans another thing, is that like in 2019 on a show called Free Guy, I was in a accident, knocked unconscious for about 5 minutes. And then the subsequent post-concussive syndrome that I still deal with today, but like stuttering, neurogenic tremors. I couldn't go, like I was in a bad spot. I'm very familiar with brain injury now, and I didn't know much before. But thank God there's recovery from that. But anyway, I'm kind of in that state, and I'm in a place where I'm in I go to a clinic every day and I get magnets shot in my head. And so I'm in a treatment that is heavy treatment for this brain injury. And he sends me this toy. And then I'm filming at the same time. I'm trying to carry all this stuff. And he sends me this toy, and my friend, he's got a coffee shop, and he's got these 2 little boys. And I see one of the little boys, and he's got a Star Wars backpack on, right? Oh, cool. And it's great to see him and all that. And I said, hey, nicely, man, I got a thing I want to give your kids. And so I went and I got the thing, and I bring it to him, I give it to him, and I go, oh, fuck. I should have taken some pictures with that. hey, send me some pictures or whatever. And then there's just pictures of the kids playing with it, box ripped apart, and you know what I mean, all that. And then it wasn't until later I talked to Andy again. I go, hey, here's what happened with that thing, and I wasn't really in my right. He goes, dude, that was a limit. They don't make that anymore. I go, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I don't. But like the joy in the little kids' faces, man, is like, I'm like, this for sure means more to them than me.
Oh yeah, they're always.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I mean,
dude.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I wish I would have kept it.
Oh well, there's another one. So hopefully, hopefully Andy. Well, it's the Book of Boba version, but that's how popular your character is that it's sold out, that they demanded more of it, and they brought it back.
Yep.
And then the second one comes with a shield, but you know,
well, that's like all like the Funko Pops. Also, they went from my gun to the vibroblade and the shield for this last run.
Yeah, you know, I'm part of like a lot of Facebook groups. After that episode, you should have seen everybody like looking for this version. They're like, because they can't wait for the new version. They're like, how do I need to buy this? I need to buy this because they don't have it in their collection. But yeah, it's just just how much your character means to a lot of like Star Wars fans. You know,
and I was gonna brag and say I got 2 of those in the back. But
oh my god!
But because I said, you know, I told my friend Chuck that helps me out with all this stuff and goes to cons and stuff with me. And he goes, you kidding? And he's like a hunter, right? He's a collector hunter guy. And he goes, all right. And then, you know, by the time I got home, there's one of these waiting in the mail that he sent from his purse, you know, that he's went and scrounged and found. And because I gave the one away, right? And so it's like stuff like that. There's a lot of love around, man. And yeah, real grateful to be here.
Yeah. And by the way, that figure is very accurate. It is one of the best collectibles out there for a heavy Mando. It's worth like $300. That's
the finish of the armor and everything on that. I mean, it's so authentic to the character. It's
yeah.
Another question from the chat says, why didn't they let you do the voice of Paz Vizsla?
You don't even have a real name dynamic, Menace. I mean, how can this be? Well, I didn't know, actually. I found out I was with my mama at the premiere in LA, and so we don't know until we hear it, and then it's like, oh, that's John. And because you know, I go in and you do the whole bit. I'm there to perform this, right? And so you don't know what happens in post. So then afterwards I go downstairs and I'm going to go down and take a leak, and then we're going to bang out. And then I bump into John at the stairs, and he goes, oh, hey, how'd you like playing my body? And I was like, all good, man. Like, he's sheepish. And I was like, and but you know, I opened up the whole show with my voice, and then 2 episodes later, it's not going to be, is Alpha Trawler reincarnated as Paz Vizsla. And then also, you know, it all dovetailed into a perfect thing, I think. John created this character, which he had an affinity for with the Clone Wars and all that, and wanted to do that. You know, he wanted to build this character, and so that we both got to be a part of that. It's kind of like the perfect fit for everybody, you know.
Yeah. Well, Pete is saying, still hoping Paz isn't gone. Did the Praetorian just knock him out? I mean, and that's what we're hoping, because he's a tough dude. So
I think with the through me, and then the final down through the back, things like that, maybe hit a couple organs.
Yeah. That one didn't work out too good.
You don't know. I mean, anything could happen.
Listen, if Darth Maul can be cut in half, Reva can be stabbed by Darth Vader, you can come back.
I mean, how many times did you think Luke Skywalker's gone or Darth Vader's gone? I mean, it's like,
yeah. By the way, this shot right here, I can't unsee it, Tate. Like, you're a wrecker. Like, honestly, dude. I'm looking at this. You're just straight up wrecker, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We got to make this happen.
Yeah, I got to make it happen.
Well, how dope will that be?
Yeah, go ahead. Another.
You got to ask him what the P Rock said.
What?
All the
go
way
ahead.
in the,
can you
what the people camp said? The Rock?
Look for P Rockzilla. He says, who wears the heavy Mando suit better, you or Jon Favreau?
I don't believe John's ever had it on.
As a toy.
Really?
No. That's surprising?
No. I think we heard like the very first episode he wore the suit once. but
yeah, that was a rumor.
That was a rumor.
That's a kind rumor.
Okay. Hey, you're the man. This is why you're here. Set us
Not
straight.
to my knowledge, I don't believe that that's something that he would want to sign up for either.
Okay.
I don't think that's it, and I don't think it fits.
Oh yeah, you guys are too.
It's also, I mean, it's just
Yeah. You wear it better.
No, I mean, it's just what it is. It's like it fits a certain body type,
right?
Yeah, and well, we all think that you wear better because it's just very. Sorry, John, we love you.
There's not a better. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Tait,
Did you guys? Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to ask Tait. So when you got into MMA, did you get into that first, and then that led into the stunt work, into the acting? Is that how that worked?
Kind of. So early on, I was running a nightclub in Santa Fe called the Paramount, and I was fighting with a group called the Dog Brothers at that time, which was a stick fighting group out of California that had the credo higher consciousness through harder contact, meaning the more the consequences are high, the more you can dial your behavior in to see that if you can meet that task, right? And so that was the thing. We're having, that was my first kind of formal combat that was like trained. And so I was doing that, and I was doing jiu-jitsu a lot. I'd started back then in like 99 or something like that, I think, 98. And then I got this movie because Master P and all those guys walked into my nightclub, and they go, one of my guys calls me and says, "Hey, we need you at the front door." And I go, "What's up, man?" And they go, "Hey, we need some big white boys for this film we're doing out at the prison." And I go, "Cool." So I showed up the next day and tried out for a thing and got in it. The movie's called Lockdown. I think it was.
Yes, I remember.
Right.
I used to listen to Master P. I'm
so
sorry.
Smash is a little known character in Lockdown, and then at the end of it, I go off like the third tier of the cell block onto a picnic table. And so it's this month of acting work and then this little gag at the end, a couple fights here and there. Cool. And I didn't know anything about the film work. I didn't know I needed a SAG card. I didn't know what that was. I knew zero things. I was a guy that had worked a door a lot and then was out here in this movie. And I was like, wow, they're paying me a lot of money this is great, cool. And but it didn't seem sustainable. The guy that ran the stunts on that was a guy named Keith Willard, and he is an ex-Navy SEAL, master of everything, like really good dude. And he goes, "Dude, you move great and love what you did, and you throw yourself into it, and you should come out. There's a lot of work in LA. I got a guest house you could stay in if you want in the Valley." And I go, "Bro, everybody I know in Santa Fe got to work 3 jobs to get by. I got this one job, and I love training. I'm doing this thing where I got to meet these guys every day to train. And so I work a job that supports me being able to do this thing I love. And being in the movies in LA is unrealistic. Thanks a lot, though, bro. And we'll see you on the flip, And that's how I felt about it then, because growing up in Northern Michigan, it's like I didn't have the same kind, like there's not like somebody that wrote a book or somebody that went to the Olympics, or you're watching, it's like it's a different thing. And so there's different. I just didn't see that expression as something that seemed reasonable in a way, and I felt like it had been hard enough. I'd gotten sober years before. I was just trying to get into life, and it was like all of it was enough. And I was like, this is kind of stable right now. And I think probably looking back at it in this conversation right now, me saying no to him was probably more of me wanting that stability and wanting to create this goal as an MMA fighter, which is what I did.
Right.
10 years later, I have my last fight and all that. And I'm on this show. I hustled stunts. I knew a couple guys because they came X Games athletes that came in the gym because I own a gym in Santa Fe. And then we're doing jiu-jitsu, and then they go, "Oh, you come and be in this movie. I'm shooting this movie, Paul." And oh, cool. And then we start talking about how I got a SAG card. And then I go, "Oh, this guy Keith Ward." He goes, "Oh, he's in Brand X. He's one of my guys." And I go, "Wow, damn, small world." Anyway, a couple years after that, I'm in Boston, and I'm meeting. There's Keith Willard and Fuqua, and I go, "God damn, man, he doesn't know." I bet. And I walk in, my mustache is out, like I got it all waxed out. I got a platinum grill in. Like, and Fuqua's like, I want all that in this. And all right, cool.
Oh, wow.
And then later that night, Keith takes us all out to dinner, and I go, the first job I ever worked on was 10 years ago, and it was you. And I reminded him, and he goes, holy sh-. And it's like,
light bulb.
You know? And so anybody saying like, how'd you get here? How'd that happen? How'd this happen? Man, I just paid attention to what I was in love with. Even how'd you get in the film world? I paid attention to what I was in love with, and I followed it through. And that was MMA. That was jiu-jitsu. You know, it wasn't, I'm going to chase this thing. It's like, what's building me and developing myself in a way that is going to maybe enhance my ability to be helpful to my community down the road type of thing. And, and then is the film supposed to, well, it came, right? And now this comes. And so, and then it's like, and my body, my age, it's like, I'm not taking professional fights. Like, that's ridiculous. And so, like, how do you segue into the next thing? And how do you, and let go of the past era? I saw a question, somebody said, you use MMA moves in your movies and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, all of it, you know, you want to, I wanted to have my body as a vessel so that I could use it as a tool that I needed to have, right? Like, I didn't want to have limitations with that. And so, you know, in that, I just, you know, worked, what's the highest efficacy of athlete that I can be, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, that's where it came from. Anyway.
Yeah. And jiu-jitsu, you know, you have to be flexible. You got to, you know, like do certain moves and things like that. So that's why, like, I brought it up before, because again, that fight scene was so like seamless. It was perfect. It just flowed really well, especially when you're rolling with someone. I mean, mind you, I roll with some of my friends that do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, when you have a partner that you're rolling with, that, you know, it's just seamless and just goes one move after another, you know, and
like a beautiful dance.
Yeah, exactly.
It can seem like a lot of things. It can seem like oppression. Somebody's on top of you. It can seem like, oh, I don't want to be here. Or look at that guy's trying to, but it can also be like surfing. You know, it can be like you're on a wave and you're just in, it's like in stick fights, man. It's like, that's where I first found it. And, you know, with a stick whizzing by your head, you got to ask yourself, what self is it I'm defending, right? It's a thing people say. And so is this an ego thing? Is this an expression of my vanity? Or am I trying to stay conscious? Because that's how high the consequences are right now. If I'm thinking of anything else, even pain, you know, my coach would tell me is going to sting. It'll bruise right through you. It can break bones. But if you think about that in the fight, it's over.
Yeah.
So you got to put that pain somewhere else and go, I'm going to deal with that later. Nice shot, and continue on. And that's what that's the fighter I was born in as an athlete, was that kind of tenacity and relentlessness. And so that's what I knew. I knew, you know, maybe I'm not the most skilled, maybe this, that, but man, I knew I was resilient, and I would follow through and I wouldn't quit. And and in that's what I want to say about the film thing that I go back, is that the thing you pay attention to, you'll get good at. And then that thing you're good at, you'll become a master of. And that thing will be useful to other people. I mean, it's that thing about following what you love. It is the only right path.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Well said.
Amen.
Well said.
Well said, man.
I feel like you need to be a motivational speaker.
I'm going to be in Sacramento on Wednesday to speak to a bunch of kids.
Really?
No,
honestly, I do whatever I can. I do that shit.
I could see you being like a high school football coach, like just motivating the kids in the small town to like win their last game.
You know, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like knowing what the struggles of life are and having not like, attaboy, you can do it, but actual functional process that you can put another person through and say, you know, you can look at yourself this way. We can develop these parts of yourself, and you can overcome this, and it won't ever be an issue again. Like, to be able to give people that, like, that coaching is one of the most, I mean, it's like being a teacher in that way. You're truly in that place of like, I'm trying to help people develop themselves into being better, stronger people. And there's zero things better than that. There's nothing better than that.
And you know what, like, I'm looking at like your, you know, like when you're saying like you worked as a bouncer to where you are now, and all the lists of movies that you worked on, these are like top-notch movies. They're not like your B or C rated movies. You worked on Breaking Bad. Like, that is phenomenal.
That's
like,
me and PJ. That's me and PJ's favorite show, by the way.
Yes, one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
He's gonna show us something.
They let me take home a trophy for that show.
Oh, they did.
You know, like,
okay, I'm going to zoom in on you
and get a SAG award for that show. which is crazy, right? And that's another thing. So I got this thing that used to live at my mom's house. But what does it mean? Like, what do all the things? Oh, this thing now you make. No, it's just more good work, and it doesn't mean anything. It's a pretty paperweight and a nice memory. And now what's next?
Nice.
Yeah, and what's next? Star Wars, like, you know, Equalizer, John Wick, like Jumanji, Agents of Shield, like Westworld, like, oh my gosh, like
Westworld was incredible.
Like,
yeah, that's a really good.
Which,
show.
by the way, I think we're heading there, Tate. Like, I think we're in that almost getting to the era of AI, and oh my gosh, it's scary.
Oh, it's a wrap, brother. It's over. This is a smash and grab to the end. Just, I mean, all our leaders, it's just all a smash and grab to the end.
Yeah, and Westworld, I love
more
that
rebels,
show.
please. More rebels. More rebels. Less of the imperialism. More rebels.
Well, yes, I agree. I'm a dark side guy, by the way. That's why I Sith cast. There's another question we didn't get a chance to ask you is like, are you dark side or light side type of person?
I never knew, being like Sean, I never knew that people were fans of Darth Vader and Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I didn't. It may sound crazy to people. I didn't know until I saw one of those new Pathfinders or Forerunners come out, and then and it looks like a Stormtrooper, and then there's Stormtrooper stickers on. I'm like, people are fans of Stormtroopers. Yeah. I'm like, because I grew up in those are the horrible those are the Nazis. Those are the worst and all this kind of thing.
It's true. It's true.
And so I have that prejudice about it. So I of course. Is that a question even? Are you evil or are you good? I mean, that to me, that's the question. Are you more dark? It's like, yeah.
Well, just to preface that, like, you know, to be honest though, like growing up, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, I was born in 1980, but you know, for me, like I always thought the bad guy always had the cooler outfits. You know, the Mandalorians were like an exception because you're like, finally, the good guys look cool. Well, I mean, look at the rebels. They come out with these funky looking like helmets in New Hope.
You look like modern Amish. You know? It's not like, ooh, it strikes awe and fear. You know, it's not that feeling really as much. That's why you use Chewbacca.
Yeah, but that's why your character is so beloved, is because it reeks like presence, strength, and like coolness.
Yeah,
from a good guy.
Pretty dope.
You know? Yeah, it's pretty freaking. That's why a lot of people love Mandalorian.
Well, he's very honorable.
Yeah,
I think people really fell in love with your character this season when they showed that you had a son. Yeah, and then you're like, okay, I understand why this guy fights for the Darksaber, because he wants to uphold the honor of being a Mandalorian.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being right at the cusp. I mean, we kind of can, of your civilization being completely lost, right? And any misstep could take you over the edge.
Yeah.
And so I think Paz is looking at it through that lens and going, my son is here. These people I love are here. And they didn't maybe know how tenuous this is. And I think there's all that kind of nature that's going on with him, you know?
Yeah.
That's the aspect was huge. I heard a lot of love about that. And God bless all the fathers out there that are standing up like that. I think that it's a thing that's an unsung thing that, you know, it's just what it is. You take the weight of what it is, and there's not a complaint because there's tasks that need to be done, and there's ways that you're judged by people that can't understand the road that you've walked to get where, and all of that, trying to hold it together. God bless, man. God bless.
Yeah. And I think it humanized Paz Vizsla, you know, when we saw his son. And well, obviously a lot of questions were, who's the baby mama? But we were like,
I was like, wait, when did he have a kid?
Yeah.
Wow. How does that happen?
I was like, how did they have both of their helmets on?
Right.
Yeah. Were you bumping helmets?
Or there's a sheet involved, and just we don't know. It could be.
Yeah. David
has weirder things from religious entities.
Yeah. David Woodrow has a question.
Conception. Yeah.
Have you ever worked with or know Sarah Holden? She's a friend of mine and stunt woman.
I sure may, but I don't. I know a lot of Sarahs, but I don't know the last names always. But yeah, I could.
Yeah. you guys have any? I'm going through the questions here, but if you guys have any,
Dynamic Menace asked if
Dynamic Menace is back.
Yeah, he says if Tait has any plans on doing any action films where you are the main character.
Whoa, that's a great question. I'll say this about like the badass, the dark side having the best uniforms and all that. It's like that all about good and evil. That comes from a guy that makes a living being a bad guy, right? It's like who's the gnarliest looking dude that can get killed by Keanu or by Dwayne or whatever, you know, like, and then that's my sweet spot. And playing a good guy, playing Paz Vizsla, like is like it's incredible. Now the thing is like carrying the weight of a film, you know. I don't know that I'm that guy at my development right now, but I'd love to be in a crew, like a supporting part of that. But I think that it takes more than people would expect to be able to carry a show like that. And I think that you got to put in some reps getting down the road more. And so I would feel more comfortable, but I'm game for whatever. But yeah,
yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. Good things will happen.
A lot of it is you write, you know, it's like you can write your own thing, right? That's if you want agency in this caste system that is the film business, it's like you have to be the creator. And so one of my partners in Caveman Coffee, Keith Jardine, he is a fighter too, and he put all his discipline into writing as much as he did fighting. And he has written some of the most beautiful screenplays. And we filmed one thing called El Paso that we went and toured around to different little festivals all around. He won all kinds of awards, and he's got features written on the back. And so it's like that kind of thing. That's probably where I'll move into those roles more. That would be more natural in that way.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. We need a backstory on Heavy Mando. That's like we need a dedicated show on Heavy Mando, like you said, like flashback all the way in the past where you were living in Mandalore and just getting to know.
And instead of working out in the sand, we worked out at Equinox.
Yeah, exactly. The Equinox. I love Equinox, by the way. That's one of my favorite gyms. I don't own a membership there, but I remember staying in a hotel and they had the Equinox.
I can't. It feels like a dentist office.
Dude, I was like, man, I never geeked out over a gym before, but I'm geeking out over this gym. Amazing. What was your favorite like set to like? You know, I know you worked a lot on the volume, right? But were you off like the volume, like in a certain like? Yeah.
Like I was in the back lot. We filmed two places in Manhattan Beach Studios, and then at the back lot. And the back lot is a space that's nearby. There's a big parking lot that is surrounded like maybe six high shipping containers in a circumference to block out anybody viewing. So it's that kind of a setup is what the back lot is. And then it becomes whatever you want. Bring in 50 tons of sand, make a beach. We're going to hollow out this part and we're going to put dense plastic and rubber. We're going to make a lake. That thing that those guys built when I walked on there, I was like, you just marvel at all the mastery of all the different crafts. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, because you could tell like you could like when in Book of Boba, right? You could tell like I think this was filmed in the volume, like when you were fighting Mando,
right?
Or Din.
Yes.
I think, and how. Like we could tell with that, but then when you were in that planet, that sandy planet with all those freaky creatures, like I was like, oh my gosh, can they leave this planet already? Keep like all these crazy monsters keep popping out of nowhere. So so that's why I was like, okay, like I think this is filmed in a different location and stuff like that. But how's it working with Bryce? You worked with Bryce Dallas Howard, right? And she directed
I met Bryce on Jurassic World, and then
that's right.
That's right.
Another partner of mine in Caveman Coffee, Lacey Mackey. She was a trainer, and so she was a super high level trainer. Trained Tom Cruise for years, and that was her first job. And then started training Bryce, and all the excellence that she really grew into with Tom and his standards, started to become present day for what people in the film world and action world do for nutrition and fitness and to get ready for stunts and all that. So she worked on Obi-Wan with all that crew, Hayden and all that. And so I feel, I don't know, when Bryce came on and then Lacey started working for Bryce. And so we're connected in all these different ways is my point. And then when Bryce came on to Mando, it was just, she's so lovely and so kind that it's like seeing, you know, an aunt or a sister that's just like, well, you know, oh God, you're here for the week. You know, it's like,
yeah,
it's just, it's that, you know, and that kind of supportiveness all throughout it, that kind of just kindness regardless, right? Kindness regardless. You wouldn't know another worry in her life.
I feel like she has the same, what is it called? Like the same love like her father. Because her father is super chill and like very
she's an actual Disney princess.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she's like, and she's all that, man. What? Yeah. Love her. We love her.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because you know you work with all these people that we look up to. You know, like Bryce, Filoni, Favreau, and the rest of these like amazing directors. Like it's cool that it's like different directors for each episode, and you know, just I wish like if I was on set like as an actor, I'd be like, "Hey, Filoni, blah blah blah," and they might kick me out of there. Like, "I'll get this guy out of here. He's asking too many questions." Like,
you think
you know, it's just so cool and.
It's like that kind of thing with all those people that you mentioned. It's like being in a master class.
Yeah.
But if you're smart enough to not just be like, oh, look at the wallpaper, cool monster. But you're watching these people that make the monsters. You're watching the excellence of the technicians that are happening. You're ear hustling these conversations where Bryce and Deborah and Jon Favreau are talking about how to create tension in this 12-second little thing here that you wouldn't really think about like that. And it's amazing, dude. And every day was like that.
Wow.
And there's not that's not normal. There's not communication like that on other sets. Like I can't tell you what a unique experience it was.
Yeah, I would just listen. Obviously, I would ask him a lot. I would just be like, oh my gosh.
Just here to hustle. Thanks for letting me just listen to your conversation.
Yeah. Moff McClunky milfs a moof. What a name.
That's a mouthful.
Moff McClunky milks a moof. What are we calling it before we go on?
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
One more question, guys, and we're gonna actually talk about caveman coffee. So go ahead.
So did I meet or work?
Did you meet or work with Gina Carano in Mando or the fight scene?
And I don't know in what fight scene, because my character and Gina never shared an episode.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I knew Gina from Jackson's MMA down in Albuquerque when she came and trained a little bit years back, and that was the only time I'd ever met her. And again, that's a woman that there's nobody that can say a bad thing about.
Yeah, she's.
You already know if they do. You already know who that person is, like their character, because she is the kindest, finest, sweetest woman. Like I can't imagine. I'm appalled. And it hurts me when I think that her mama woke up and read, my daughter is an anti-Semite. And then they hide and obscure the thing that wasn't anti-Semitic that she posts so that you can only read the headline. You can't look into it. And then you're like, did you hear? And then everybody chatters like the way the fuck do.
Yeah.
And it becomes this thing. And it's like, anyway, God bless Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina.
I absolutely love Gina. Like the guys here know I've been in the works for like the past 2 months now, building a freaking cosplay of her character. And I think I have like 3 more weeks left where the paint is about to be finished. And I just can't wait. And I even messaged her about it. And she gave me some ideas, and she even sent me a link of how like to do the actual braid that she had. So I'm pretty excited to like cosplay her character.
You know, and I could see Gina being asked to come back and work for Disney. And I mean, I could totally see all that happen, right? Because you didn't kill her. She got stronger. And you're like, and time has passed and it was just business or whatever the thing was. I really don't know. I don't think anybody knows why Gina was let go. you know, and then it's not popular to talk about, well, I work for Disney again. If I even talk, you know, fuck, I don't know, man. But if y'all are that sensitive, take it easy, man. You know?
Yeah.
It's like you have to be able to talk about what's happened so you can suss out, especially in the nature of what culture is right now. To put a kibosh on conversations is insane. You know, I talk to my daughter all the time about trans issues or whatever, that, you know, all the things that are out. And we can talk about it, understand each other. I can understand her perspective as a 27-year-old person. Well, this is how I view it around where it is. And I could go, well, here down the road is what it looked like, and here's where it came from. And also know about the you know, the people that actually really, you know, bled for civil rights in the LGBTQ community back in the 80s, guys that were at Stonewall that fought cops because it was illegal to hold hands with another guy or whatever, and they'd get dusted up by nightclubs or nightsticks if that happened. I mean, there's people that put themselves in, and that's not where we are today. You know, there's been a lot of growth in all that. And I like to look at that like we're going forwards. You know, we're not going into a place that's worse as far as our human consciousness goes. People are becoming more understanding of everybody and going, yeah, man, I don't want you to push into my life and tell me what to do. And I certainly want to support you in whatever you do. And I never gave a shit what anybody did with what was in their pants. That's none of my business, and I don't want it to be. Thanks. You know, like, but to not be able to have that discussion, well, you're just stuck into your A or B. Well, no, man, life is nuanced, man. And the conversation changes. And so that's the thing I'm most grateful for, is like to be able to be in the conversation, you know?
Yeah. And Gina's such a, like, you know, from what I've, you know, seen her in interviews, and, you know, I follow her on Instagram. She's a sweet, sweet person. And I loved her in MMA. She's one of my favorite female, like, MMA fighters, period. You know, she kicked some booty back in the day.
You know, and what she was.
Yeah, she was a pioneer.
Exactly. And what that is for a woman, I don't think it's easy to understand unless you're in the rooms and you know what women go through, especially at that time of here's, you know, all these men that are a certain kind of aggressive way. That, I mean, they're here in this room the same way you, but man, you're pushed on in different ways than I don't have to deal with, right? Just to show up. And I think that for people that stay in the room, you know, like the jiu-jitsu girls I know that stayed in the room, and there's like 2 of them and there's 40 guys, they got so good because you're battling dudes, and you're battling dudes that have egos that you're choking, that are going hard and being kind of shitty. Like there's all of it that goes on, and you're a fucking girl. And so most people quit. The girls that don't are like the Gina Carano's.
Yeah.
Like, and it ain't for everybody. I'm not saying that anything about anybody that's like, I don't want to be in that environment. But like, if you love MMA, and that's in you, if you people go, oh, would you support anybody if they wanted to fight? No, I tell you not to. Why? Because you don't really want to. Are you willing to give up everything in your life? Are you willing to change your relationships? Are you willing to support yourself in a way that will support this thing? And it can't be in the daytime hours because you have to train in the daytime. All the stuff. Do you go into the gym with broken toes? Do you like to train no matter what? Or do you just like to be under the lights? You just want the idea that I'm under the lights. And so do you want to be a fighter, or do you like fighting? Do you just want to call yourself that thing, or do you want to do that thing? And I think that those pioneers back there wanted to do the thing, and it was love for the sport so goddamn much. There wasn't money in it. There wasn't any of that. You're just in there for that drive. And Gina Carano is a special goddamn woman on a lot of different fronts. When I said jiu-jitsu gave me a lens through life to look at, that's what it did, because it's the strongest discipline that I had in my life. And in that lens, you look at disciplines, you look at contrary action, you look at sacrifice, you look at diligence, you look at what honor is to your team. You're looking at the lens of life through this very high standard, because these other guys in the room need you to have a high standard because their livelihood and their safety depends on it. And to be a part of that, man, and that's what Gina was a part of, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's why
Beautifully said.
Beautifully said. And you know, with MMA, it's art. It's mixed martial arts.
Sure.
You know, it's an art form. And yeah, that was great. You know, thank you for all that. So
I don't know that I'm right. I just know it's how I feel. You know?
No, it's listen. Hey, this is we don't.
This is the way.
This is the way. Exactly.
PJ, I have the website for that too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's just Caveman Coffee Company. It's cavemancoffeeco.com.
Oh yeah. Can you
you want me to bring it up?
Yeah, please. Yeah. Thank you. So in this segment right now, we're gonna definitely talk about one of Tait's other journeys, and this is Caveman Coffee.
Can you see it good?
Yep, that's perfect. By the way, I'm a coffee drinker.
Yeah. You got, hey, I'll control the website. You just guide me to wherever you want to go, Tait.
Oh shit. Right on. Well, right there, that's our nitro.
Oh, I'm gonna order some next week.
This is our kind of flagship. And we're founded, that girl in the picture right there, that's Jody Escabel, and who is kickboxing, Keith Jardine's girlfriend, wife, I say. They've been together forever. And Keith's one of my partners, and like I said, Lacey Mackey's one of my partners. We started this about 10 years ago, and we were one of the first with nitro cold brews. I think Stumptown might have been before us a beat, and we've just been trying to make good coffee. We're just people that love coffee, and like I said, Keith and I came from the fight world, and Lacey's an athlete, and we wanted to, build a brand that like spoke to better nutrition and higher quality and all that, and so. We love coffee, and so we just ran down that road while we're all actively pursuing all these other things too. And so this is one of the side hustles that we get to do.
It almost looks like an energy drink with the name Nitro. And when I saw you on Instagram and you were promoting it, at first I was like, oh, that's energy drink. I didn't realize it was coffee.
Yeah.
And so I'm a coffee drinker, and I love so I need a strong coffee, Tait. And anything you recommend?
This is about 220 milligrams or something, this can. I think a shot of espresso is 80 or something like that. So give it some scope. That saber tooth roast is our darkest roast, and it's really great. It's fantastic. I love that as far as a bean goes. The mammoth roast, we do a thing. We're really into the paleo kind of paleo and keto kind of worlds. And so, we infused MCT, and like I kind of helped blow up Bulletproof Coffee with Dave Asprey. I brought him onto Rogan because I used to bodyguard Rogan back in the day, and so I'd go on his podcast on then.
You bodyguard for Rogan?
Do you ever do any research, bro?
No. I'm just hey, listen, no.
I watch Rogan religiously on TikTok with all his little, different ideas and plots and schemes. It's fascinating. I sometimes I catch myself on a Saturday like watching some of his episodes for like an hour, and I'm like, crap, I just watched like an hour's worth of Joe Rogan.
I didn't understand about podcasting. I was like, what is this? Like, and then I listened to Ari and Joe, my buddy Ari Shafir, who like him and Joey Diaz, myself, Brian Reichel, he's known as Red Band on the internet. Would tour, and we'd go on these comedy tours. Toured with Charlie Murphy one season.
Oh my gosh,
it's cool, man. And so Ari's on there with Joe talking, and I was in the car, and I was just like, this is just like being in a conversation with your friends. You're just like, and I felt like, wow, you're close here in this. I'd never seen the outlet before, really, and so it just fascinated me, and I thought, man, this is a way of connecting people in a real beautiful way, and I'm glad, it's the other thing. Everybody looks at Joe's success with it. Well, fuck, that wasn't there to begin with. He's just a dude in a spacesuit talking to his friend dressed up like a monkey. It's like, that's all it was, right? And then he just kept doing that, and it grew into this thing. And so after The Ultimate Fighter, Joe let me live in his house for a few months while I got on my feet, got it back together, because I had to shut everything down for the months that I was in Vegas filming. And he's like, just live in my basement. So I went and did that, and I don't know how long but we hung out for a while.
Yeah, Joe is probably my inspiration for a podcast. That's why I started this Sitcast podcast, because Joe is like, whenever I listen to a lot of Joe, and whenever I watch him or listen to him, he's just one of the smartest people I've listened to. And on top of that, the way he talks and conversates with you, it's just like very, just seamless, fluid, like, it's just like he's like an everyday guy, that's why he's so popular, and he can hold a conversation.
I admired from the very first time I met Joe, and I met him old school 10th Planet guys will understand. Maybe some guys are so fucking young nowadays, I don't know. But back in the day when Eddie's first opened his school on Santa Monica Boulevard, at a place called the Bomb Squad that Chris Riley had a kickboxing school in. And we kind of came in there as the jits guys and took it over for hours at night. And then a lot of guys trained with Chris too and cross trained, but that's where I met Joe. And that's where he was getting into a point with Fear Factor and with the fights and all that when they go to, people get silly in Vegas. And he's like, it'd be cool to have somebody come with me. And there was a guy that was going with him for a while that maybe got too drunk and then would, talk to the waitress about how could I be better to get a girlfriend or something. Like he got really lost and he's like, we need a new guy. And I just moved into town. I was on, I'd worked in as a special ability extra maybe on The Longest Yard. And that movie went out to, so I moved with it. And that's when I started going to 10th Planet. It was back around that era. And so I was, one of the first guys at Eddie's school, OG 10th Planet dude that got to see the rise of all that and what paying attention to consistency in that level does. It's the consistency. Find what you love, do the goddamn thing till the wheels come off, man. Your love for that thing. And then once, I used to think, I'll be stuck in that thing then. No, man, you curate your love for the thing and that's transferable. That's a transferable skill. Yeah. And then, I think we're doing a collab with a guy named Cowboy Cerrone and
Cowboy? Oh wow. I know Cowboy.
We're doing some K-Cups, I think, for him. But we'll see. We'll know more. You'll see. Just follow me, you'll see.
Yeah.
And by the way,
no, I was saying I'm definitely going to be purchasing. I guess you guys sell them in like large packs, so I definitely want to try some.
Like a case. We do cases of them. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we got bags too. Like I buy them by the pound when I'm in a spot, but like we got 5-pound bags of that saber tooth, and I just run that.
Okay. Yeah. What would you recommend would be like the strongest one?
I love for flavor and the strength. For the strength of the coffee, it depends what you mean by strength. When we talk about strength of coffee, we can be talking about the taste. Does it taste strong, or is it potent? Does it have a lot of caffeine? And so the darker the roast, the stronger the taste, as it were.
Yeah.
The less the caffeine. Okay, because what happens is you got to think of caffeine as a nutrient, like chlorogenic acid or any of the other nutraceutical kind of things that are inside of the coffee bean. It's a fruit that has these things. The longer you cook something, the more the nutrients are out of it. Caffeine being part of that. So we have a light roast that's called white gold, and that is our light. It's like just at the first crack of the bean. So the bean isn't even fully dehydrated at that point. And that's the highest caffeine content is these lighter roast coffees. So if you're looking for higher caffeine punch, you want a lighter roast. If you want a stronger taste, it's the darker roast. And that's why. And the reason the Starbucks all taste the same is because it's all burnt identically. And it's hard to roast identically, but you can burn it to a level where you have a uniformity of taste. And it's like a Big Mac tasting like a Big Mac wherever you go in the world. It's like that kind of thing is another art in itself of like, how can you make it so that no matter who roasted it anywhere, they can make it the same thing?
It's funny that you talked about paleo. I just recently went to Barnes and Noble and bought like a 3-set book on like the whole history of paleo and paleo diet because my boyfriend and I actually wanted to start trying that.
Yeah, I gotten really into that. I just tried different diets and I'm like, let's see what it does. And all I knew is like I had to adhere to it 100%, or I want to get I want to have a good test. And so I'd start doing that with different things. And then since my brain injury, like a ketogenic diet has been really good because ketones are the things that's the most accessible for the brain to have energy from.
Yeah.
Being secondarily, but with a bunch of downstream problems that sugar has. And so becoming fat adapted from being a ketogenic diet really helped clarity and stuff. It helps nourish the brain for me in that way. And so, I'd try a bunch of different stuff, but I'm looking, my whole thing is, Pirate Life is our company that, and you've seen Pirate Life as it goes up. I started that, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, because I'm thinking about how pharmaceutical companies are infringing on our lives everywhere and how, everybody just needs a pill. You don't need hard work. You don't need education. I'm like, we need to eat ourselves back into health. And everybody's being sold Twinkies and high fructose corn syrup as if it's okay everywhere ubiquitously. And they're dying of heart disease and those kinds of related illnesses rapidly and more and more and more. And nobody's like, oh, this is why, And so I just started thinking that and you got to pirate your life back. You're inundated by advertisement. You're inundated by people trying to get your attention, pull it this way and that way. Oh, this is the thing. This will taste great. Let's date you this way. And I'm like, I just want to stop. And I want to go, what's nourishment and what's from the ground up? Because I know that if it comes wrapped in plastic, it's probably not good for me. So let's reassess what nutrition looks like for me. How do I pirate my life back from these corporations that will sell a Kellogg's Pop-Tart in France without the same ingredients in America because they have standards in France that they wouldn't treat their people that way and sell them those ingredients. Same company. But they can save a couple of cents this way by making you have cancer down the road or whatever it is. And it's just like, I'm just out of it. And so I started to research food and I started to go, where's your meat come from? And what medicines do you need to take? What is it? You know, I went in for a colonoscopy. They wanted to give me fucking fentanyl. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm going on the nap. I just I'm a drug addict. I'm not doing that. Like I've been clean for like, I don't know, it was 26 years at the time. I'm not doing that. Right? I'm not doing that. You're giving me fentanyl to get my butt fingered by a camera? I'm going to be awake. I'm going to be on the nap. What are you going to do to my butthole that I need to have heroin? That's ridiculous, right? I'm like, that's insane. I for sure am going to be awake. If you want to drug me like that, I got to know what you're up to. And it was nothing. It was a nothing thing. But then I had friends start dying of fentanyl.
Yeah, that's just the number. That's a big problem now.
You're going to give everybody in America a taste of this, that they don't need a painkiller like that. Well, now why would you do that? That seems weird. It almost seems like an attack against America. That's weird. Oh, do we have an opiate epidemic? That's weird. And so it's like all those things. Pirate your life back, man. Buyer beware. You've got to be an advocate for yourself in this goddamn world because they are not on your side. And so that being the truth that I've come from, I've tried to push that wherever I can.
Yeah.
Nice.
But by the way, I'm like looking at the website and I'm actually loving the fact that you describe like, you know, where the coffee's being made and where it's coming from. Growing elevation, 1,500 meters in Colombia, processing method, washed, Colombia.
I love that you can subscribe and you're automatically like every, you can restock every month. Cause I love that. I used to get the, what is it?
Yeah.
I forgot what's the name of the coffee brand. It's called Death.
There's my friends up in New York.
Death Wish from Death Wish coffee. Yeah. And I would drink that at work and, you know, I'd be cracked out all day. And I was like, And then like other coworkers of mine would have it and they're like, what are you trying to kill us? And I'm like, no, I'm trying to stay awake.
But you know, that's a huge success story too. That's just go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say really quick, you know, the fact that like you're saying that like, you know, you're describing like, yes, I want like to be cranked out, but I also want to be able to enjoy my coffee where like, you're like, not like, you're like, you know, it's like a battle to drink it down because it's so bitter.
Right.
And it's like, you're like, and at the same time, you need that kick though, to jumpstart your day.
Well, let me give you some good news. A lot of coffees that are cold coffees that are out there that you'll see are not cold brewed coffee. Hot brew, when you put hot water through, it makes it bitter. It brings a bitterness to it. What happens when you slow brew it, you cold brew it for 16, 18 hours, right? With a cold process, that's the exposure instead of this heat that accelerates the transfer of the juice of the bean into your water, into your coffee pot. The cold brew slowly brings it up. So there is no bitterness. There's a smoothness to cold brews. That's what's present in it, and that's the difference. Now, it's a lot easier and cheaper to flash brew a coffee, put it over a chiller and can it. But that ain't a cold brew. That's a different thing, right? And so that's when I started looking at qualities of it, and it mattered to me, you know? So that's how we did it.
Well, I was gonna say, number one, can I make a request for the subscription for service? I know the lowest, you know, recurrence is 15 months. Can we make it like 3 months? Because I drink a lot of coffee.
I get it.
Yeah, so I mean, if we could do that and just have, I could set it and forget it. That'd be awesome. And another question is, will we get a heavy Mando Paz Vizsla flavor in the future?
I'm hoping we're in the works. Like I said, we got.
Come on, dude.
So, and then you know, I don't want to step on anybody's propriety. I don't want to be sued by Disney, so I'm careful.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yes. Well, definitely.
But I played the character like, yeah, we own you top to bottom. I don't know if you didn't know what this was, but
right.
Yeah, maybe there could be some sort of deal in the future.
Yeah, Disney wants their cut.
Yeah, but hopefully, because that'd be really.
If they help me advertise, they can have their cut.
Yeah.
Yes, and honestly, dude, like Tait, like I'm definitely gonna subscribe because like I said, I'm a big coffee drinker. I have like 2 cups a day, like 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. I have to.
And that's a big coffee drinker to you, huh?
3.
I
do
well,
3.
well, here's the thing. Can I tell you?
I'm feeling like maybe I'm abusive of coffee.
How many cups of coffee do you have a day, Tait?
I'll drink a minimum I drink a half a pot, but I'll drink a pot. Probably on average, I bet I drink a pot of coffee a day.
Yeah, I do half a pot a day.
If I'm working at the house, I'm a pot. I mean, it could be a pot and a half. If I go out, I'll bang probably 4 cups of coffee before I leave, and then I'll be out in the world. I'll get coffee with friends or something. But so on a light day, it's 6 or 7, probably. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing too. Is like my coffee is like extreme caffeine. Like I don't know if you guys have Quick Check over there, but mine's like 24-ounce Quick Check, like extreme caffeine coffee. In the afternoon, I get usually like an Americano with like a couple shot espresso, because honestly, I think I've drank so much coffee in my life that I've been like becoming numb to the caffeine, and like
totally what happened with me. We'd go to the UFC fights, me and Joe would get coffees, we'd get 4, go bring them, bang, and it's like it's like you drink coffee all the time. You're like, I wish I didn't drink coffee for 2 days because I bet I'd get a pretty good effect from this coffee that I'm not getting right now.
Yeah.
I'm what is it? My friends call me bougie. I'm a French press girl.
Oh, good girl.
Oh, French press, yes.
Yeah, not mad
Love
at
it.
all.
Love it.
Yep.
Well,
I just feel like you get a better taste from it.
For sure.
And it actually, like I'm not a coffee connoisseur, but I have tried numerous of coffees from everywhere. But I feel like by using the French press, you're getting more of a strong. I feel like my coffee's more stronger
and smoother, right? And smoother.
Yep. I agree.
When I do it, like I heat it up on the stove, like not too hot. I don't want it to be boiling, then I pour it over. I let it sit for like about give or take like 5 or 6 minutes, and then I mix it around, and then I just slowly start pressing down. And I think I probably have about 3, sometimes on a good day 4. On a Saturday, I'm sometimes killing a whole pot of coffee like you as well.
Do you ever grind it too fine, and then you're like trying to push it down, and it's like
Yeah.
I cracked up. I watched Keith Jardine, who's a monster of a dude. And,
Keith,
and he's trying to push it, and he can't. But like his weight's on, and it's like if you grind that shit fine, you might as well be pushing on cement.
What was it? Last week Saturday, I grinded a little bit too fine, and I'm pushing down, and I'm like, crap. I'm like, if I go any harder, I'm like, this thing is gonna go like that in the counter.
Yeah. By the way, I love the fact that like we're talking about coffee, and then there's so many people in the chat that's coffee drinkers. They're like, Eben is like 4 minimum of coffee.
You notice why I'm really quiet though, because I don't drink coffee.
Oh, come on, Scott, live a little.
I never did. I don't know why.
Oh, that thing
you're missing out.
I found that yesterday too, Pete, and it was like that's because you were trying the Mando roast, and for some reason the Mando roast hasn't hooked in yet, and so I've got to get my tech guy to put that in, but because I couldn't get it shipped either. I tried to troubleshoot that yesterday. My apologies.
Okay.
That remedy, but it only affects that one roast.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one roast. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But everything else you could order to Central Florida.
Yeah. I ordered yesterday to make sure again.
Yeah, 3 or 4 minimum a day here. FY, the darker the bean, the less caffeine there is. Canyon, AA, and French presses haven't. See, look, everyone's drinking.
Nice.
Yeah, I switched to K-cup, so it's quick and easy.
Yeah.
So like you said, Tait, you guys are working on the K-cups in the near future.
Me and Cowboy, we got a couple more. We just got to figure a couple things out. But yeah.
Oh, Cowboy Cerrone, he's one of my favorite MMA.
He's
such a nice dude. Like, well, from what I've seen, and such a great fighter. One of
really,
dude, the guy's won so many.
Yeah, the legacy that he left, the path of his career is really beautiful in that way.
Yeah. So, but again, you know, I left the website in the chat, guys. So if you guys want to order some coffee,
much appreciate the support. Oh, and if you're ordering coffee with just my name, Tait Fletcher, is 20% off. And so
nice.
Yes. Yeah. So 20% off of these coffee, and they're like reasonably priced. Like seriously, I was looking at it, I was like, what? That's it?
For the quality of coffee, it is. It's like, yeah, it is. It truly is.
Like,
don't have hardly any markup.
Yeah, so that's a really good price.
And your favorite is Tait once again?
I like the saber tooth. That's my far favorite. That and white gold I go between. I like the white gold because it's like I said, it's lighter and it's strong and it's just different. It's a different flavor for me. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of our friends who is from Canada wanted to know, do you guys ship to Canada?
I believe we do.
Okay.
And Dynamic Man says, I'll get the beans. I have a grinder. Used to work in a coffee shop. So awesome, wow. Dynamic.
Right. Little barista.
Yeah. So and pizza. So much wisdom and awesome advice, knowledge. Thanks, Tait. Hope to see you in Star Wars as Paz or Wrecker in the future. Yeah, guys, you know, definitely support, you know, Tait. And
I'm gonna bring you a Wrecker figure when I see you next week to sign it.
Yeah.
I should do that. Have you signed the Wrecker figure? So I have it now, so that if you do ever become Wrecker, I'll be like, I had it before he became it.
That would be cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because it kind of throws a dart in the future for us. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So really quick, we're gonna wrap things up pretty soon. But Tait, is it okay? I know you still haven't watched the episode of Mando.
Who's the spy? I'm saying it's Axe Woves.
Okay, we won't what
Mercedes I'm looking at.
Okay, you know, we'll do like a really quick review. First of all, just you know, we just have to go over one more time the fight scene because honestly, Tait, I know seriously, we're not just saying that because you're here. Obviously, you can see in the chat that you are so loved in the Star Wars community. You did such a great job.
On you guys.
You know, we all
and I can't be looking at it anywhere right now.
Yeah, it's just, you know, especially like, you know, like that scene where you could see like it's like so much emotion. You're fighting to the death. Like your minigun is literally smoking and melting because you're just going ham on like those upgraded dark troopers and just going over this is like
that
pose. Right?
That's badass.
So it's like I feel like Metallica should be playing in your helmet as you're in this pose.
Dude.
Yeah. And can I tell you, there's that shot that's like 2 minutes before that, where we're in the cavern where this is where the Great Forge was and all that, and everybody comes in flying at us. And there's a side shot where like flipping that up. There's some great when he lands in the courtyard. That's Jeremy Fitzgerald and like crazy cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know why, but this was like this whole episode just reminded me of a movie. Like the cinematography.
Yeah,
was just insane.
Dude.
Like no episode was like this. No. It was just very beautiful. Like it was very dark, but everything popped up. Like even here with the shield. You know, the whole backdrop is completely black, but just that stands out. And it's beautiful.
It's just a warrior's like scene and death. You know, like when you just like you saw the 3 Praetorian guards and you're like, let's go. Like you just flip that like your shield open and like, oh my goodness.
And everyone's saying this is their favorite episode of the year.
Dude,
it is.
For me, I said it the other day, and I don't know, maybe I was just really excited, but like I was like, this is the best hour of Star Wars that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's good.
I was so, I mean, I'm just proud to be a part of that, man, because wow.
Yeah, and then like, you know, like here, this part, you know, like you said, like you were holding, like that was like a
throat. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it just, again, a beautiful shot. And honestly, Tait, like we're hoping by the Star Wars gods out there that you are just knocked out. Wrecker. Has.
You know, when you talk about tears under the helmet and all that it was an emotional day. That was.
Oh, I bet.
We pushed the extra day. We were supposed to wrap on Wednesday and went to Thursday. But then also one of my friends and a mentor, Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell. I'm just scrolling through while they're setting up the next shot, and then I see that he's died.
Oh no!
Well, all of it. It's just the whole thing is awash in so many different memories and things that matter. And I was like, and Louis is a strong, dedicated, upright, noble human, and I thought, well, and I'm going to go with you a little bit today too, Louis. You know, and what a special the whole thing was. Was amazing.
And again, you know, we're being honest. Is that you know, it's even watching today's episode, the finale. That episode last week is still my favorite. I'm not saying that because you're here.
Well, that's great to hear because I thought that last week was so good. I kind of got afraid. Like, I hope that this is grander. You know what I mean? But I was like, it was so good. I'm like, I couldn't imagine it being better. Almost. I can't wait to see it too.
Yeah, because we were talking about it backstage. Like they should have combined last week's with this week's, and it would have just been an epic finale.
Like a 1 hour, 2 hour and a half.
That's what they should have done.
It literally felt like watching a movie, like to be quite honest
seriously.
With you. And
seriously. Obi-Wan was. I mean, it was. I mean, and they were made by a movie film. They were made by, you know, one of the producers was the dude that did Mission Impossibles and stuff. So there was a whole different crew in that regard too. For that. But I thought that would be a cool way to end this too. I thought, we'll have a massive 2 hour.
Yeah. Honestly, they could have left this as a cliffhanger, and then people will be like, "Oh my god!" Like, you know, we gotta
what
like,
do we do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was just, and it was like, honestly, like watching that scene. I was up with my son at 6 o'clock in the morning because my youngest one and I, like, we, you know, he's just, Dad, don't watch it without me, type of thing. So we were up, and then me and him were just like we just like, you know, like we just froze and. We're like, no, like, you know, like, no, it can't be. Like, you
when
know,
you're cheering so much just before when he's wiping out stormtroopers and kicks the it's like, wow, I'm watching this. And good has pushed back all that stuff, and then here, and what a powerful episode, man! Wow.
Yeah.
That whole scene was so intense. Like you shared it, but I had made a video of that whole entire scene, and I kept playing the song "We Need a Hero" in the background.
Yeah.
Because it was just insane. Like you beating the crap out of the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Miller, he says, Nilda or PJ, can you show him my art piece of him? So Sean Miller did this art piece of you, and my goodness.
Oh, that looks good.
I was like, holy moly, is that like that
looks great,
like a
Sean?
Screenshot? That is beautiful, Sean.
Yeah. You got you got the textures down right on the armor. It looks great, Sean.
It seems like you're probably one of those guys, Sean, that sat in the back of class and drew in the notebook a lot.
Yeah, he's
like, you think of the amazing artists that were like just all day and
I think he does a lot of his art digital.
Okay.
Yeah. That's still I mean, I work in graphic art, so yeah, I can appreciate what he does.
That's sick.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The atmosphere that he's woven in around it, and to have it encroach more on the one side than all of that stuff, the way smoke moves, it's cool.
Yeah. I actually wouldn't mind have that piece, and then
I wouldn't mind having that piece too, Sean.
Well, I asked Sean right now if he's actually selling that, because I would love to buy that, and then I can bring that to Fort Myers.
Order 3 of them, because I'll give you the money.
Yeah.
See if Tait would be honored to sign
the artist, man. The artist in this world. Whew.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing. That was the most beautiful part about season 1 for me, you guys. Season 1, they took. Thanks, brother. Love it. I'll be
that's awesome.
Shortly. But they didn't make any marketing. They didn't make Grogu. And so what I got to see after that, just by being a part, and I get tagged and stuff, all these amazing artists, and you see a macrame one, and you see one of velvet, you see a denim one, and everybody's making their own representation of this beautiful little child that's inspired them before any kind of corporatocracy came and goes, here's what it is, and buy this. And it's like, that's what this world generates. I mean, it throws the seeds of inspiration so that people want to create something cool. I mean, and the artists are amazing. It's like everybody that's a fan in Star Wars is some kind of crazy artist. And you're like blown away around every turn.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the beauty about Star Wars and Star Wars communities, that we all love different aspects of the universe, right? You know, who would have thought like Heavy Mando, like, you know, would be like one of the most beloved Star Wars characters of all time. And I hope you feel that and you see that.
Again, you say that and it's hard to know. I was just going to go. So I asked my friend earlier today, we went for coffee. So do you think, you know, is he a hero? Like I would go, you're on the internet. He goes, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't think so. But it's, you know, you just wonder what the mark is of that, is like, because you're just inside this really cool thing that I got to do. And I'm a fan of that as much as anything, you know? To me, it's it's one of the proudest moments of my film career for sure.
Yeah. Great. You know, we were going to talk about and honestly, I think we could save that for next week. I mean, we could just,
I want you to watch it tonight and enjoy it.
Yeah, we want you to watch it tonight without spoiling anything.
I'm not telling you nothing.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to spoil for you. We, you know, obviously.
All right.
I want to see you posting later, like, you know, this episode was fucking badass or something like that.
We'll be at a later date.
Yeah, Sithcast didn't spoil it for me. It's like, you got to enjoy it.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it. I could definitely say this. It was definitely missing some big guy in the whole battle.
Yeah.
That's my heart so good.
Yeah.
It's so nice, man.
We missed him.
No, honestly, guys, right? Like, it didn't feel the same. Like, I mean, as cool as it was, and it was great scenes in this finale. It was just like, you're so used to, like, especially in episode 3 in season 1, when you came in, right? Like, you, first of all, you were like, we thought you were like the jerk, the bad guy, and then you just come in and start like wailing down on everybody.
Don't worry, I got you guys, Dan.
Yeah, but you were the front and center person. All the other men, I mean, no offense, but they were like, you know, in the background, and you were just like, and then like the end scene in the end of the episode, you're like, you know, you're flying, and
love that.
Yeah. So, and one more question before we wrap things up. I know you fought Din in Book of Boba, but you know, and you know, honestly, 1-on-1 without the Darksaber, you could have beat his ass, right?
1-on-1, there's not. Listen, yeah, I would say this.
He's so humble.
Yeah, he's so humble, but you know you could.
He's like, I could have.
You know you could.
Ass.
Okay, here's my answer: is every fight that was in there that Paz was in, Paz is in control of and lets happen for his reasons that he does, so that he can direct the whole thing in a better way. And so me and Din in the very beginning, when we're at knife to knife, I'm just trying to check him. I'm just bracing him a little. I'm not trying to smash you, little fella, but what's up?
Little fella.
Exactly.
And then, you know, I think the other part of it is that that scene in the whole thing, you know, I think that, you know, Brendan Wayne and I would talk about it a lot, and he would talk about how much he appreciates what Paz brings to Din in his character, because he is so much affected by that and admires him to some degree, and is like, he understands the place that Paz, he doesn't see Paz as an enemy. He understands the place that he holds. And they work together in that, and they balance each other. I think it's a beautiful thing. His relationship and the relationship with Emily and the relationship with Katie. I mean, when I want to watch tonight, what I'm excited about isn't necessarily the story. What I got excited about when Nilda just says, I want you to watch it tonight, is like, what happened to my friends? What happened to Katie? What happened to Emily? You know, I'm thinking about it like that. Yeah.
And that's why I said, like, you know, the love and relationship that, you know, you guys all have with each other. And I said to you, you know, before watching last night's, you know, you guys doing your final like goodbyes and thanking all the fans, you know, you can tell that you guys were a really big family. So it's like, I want you to watch this, you know, the comfort of your own home and enjoy seeing your friends. And like you guys, I know for a fact you're gonna be messaging them and like saying how badass the finale was.
Yeah, so we'll reserve our
right.
review and opinion for next
apologies
week.
to the fans that wanted to chop it up about the episode tonight, but
no,
we wanted to talk about your episode.
Yeah, we want to talk about you and your episode, which is because, like I said, as much as I like the season finale, your episode last week was just
thanks.
That was one of my favorite. That is ranked high up there.
Yeah.
So and I'd say, we want to just say thank you, Tait, for hopping on our show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything that you have done in this, not only with all your movies that you have been part of, but in Star Wars in general, like what you have brought to the character, the Paz Vizsla Heavy Mando character. You are so beloved, one of the coolest Mandalorian characters on screen ever made, ever created. So we need to see you back, man, as Wrecker.
And get used to the Star Wars love, because you've carved your spot in history in Star Wars, and you will always be known as that, and everyone's going to love you for that, man.
And I'm
forever.
As much as we talked here, I'm like super excited to meet you in 2 weeks. Like I'm probably gonna be fangirling the fuck out of it.
I can't wait.
I was gonna say, hopefully we could get to see you in ICCC in Nashville. I'll buy you a drink, brother.
Yeah, I sent Michael. I messaged Michael about it, and he was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then I sent him your email. So you're gonna look out for a guy named Michael Havens.
Dope.
We don't know what your schedule is, but I think ICC's May 26th through the 28th in Nashville.
I just got a thing for Brussels.
That's right.
It might be around then, but I don't know. We'll check and see. Nothing's for sure right now, but I'd love to be in the conversation in next year, if not now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you, when's the next con besides Brussels that you're doing?
I'll be at Fort Myers with Nilda here on the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, so we'll be celebrating May the Revenge of the
Sith. Be with you. I travel on May.
Oh, so lucky, Nilda.
And then this next Tuesday, I go to. There's an event up in Sacramento called True Hope that a friend of mine, Jeremy Bates, runs. He's at Instagram at the Hope Dealer, and he goes to, to foundlings. He goes to kids that have been like whatever. And so, I went out there once before and just said hi to everybody and all that. And so I'm going to go do that again Tuesday and Wednesday. But those are only 2 things on the books really. And then just trying to get as many, connections with fans as I can get and all that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Come to more cons. We want to meet you. New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con.
Call me.
We want to hang out with you. I'll buy you a drink when I see you. So
not me, baby. You can buy me a coffee.
Coffee. That's what I mean.
I want to say though to everybody that spent the time here with us, and thank you. And but a lot of it seems impossible, incredible, and all the things. And however you're looking at it from wherever you are in your life and your age and your level of confidence and all the things. If you think about it, Jon Favreau is a kid watching Boba Fett, this character that came out for just seconds, but that stayed in all of our heads. All of us that watched that stayed in our heads. Cool guy. I want to know more about him. He's not a star at that time. He's not anybody. And he writes this story these years later, right? That whatever it is possible, man. That seems astronomically impossible. Yeah. And it all occurs. And the only thing that doesn't occur is if you don't try. So I really got to encourage anybody. I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life or this or that or whatever, but goddamn, stay in the try. If you can stay in the fucking try, at least you're in the game and you're in the conversation. And that's a fuckload better and more honorable than being in the fucking stands as a spectator.
Oh yeah, brother.
Oh yeah,
it's available.
Amen.
Just try.
Amen. And to be honest, you are a perfect example of trying. Honestly, because like I said, looking the list of things that you have accomplished and done in your career is a lot. Breaking Bad, Jon Favreau, Mandalorian. It's just very inspirational. So thank you, Tait.
Thank you, guys. I had a great time spending the evening with you. Thank you.
Yes,
this was fantastic. This was,
it was
an honor.
I'm gonna really like forever cherish this memory, all of my life.
Do it again.
Thank you, Nilda, for setting this
Run
up.
it back.
Yes,
You're
let's
welcome,
run it
guys.
back.
That'd be
You're
great.
more than welcome to.
Wait, Tate,
come
you
back.
could come back on next week if you want to talk about the final episode. So you
I'm gonna be in Sacramento.
just hit us up.
But maybe we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. Again, I want to say thank you to Tait Fletcher for hopping on our show and sharing his experience not only with Mandalorian but in his career and his life. So really appreciate it. Thank you, Nilda, for setting this up. Sean, another one in the books, guys. Thank you to all the listeners and viewers out there watching and listening to us. Really appreciate this love and support. And I'll leave you guys with this. Made in midichlorians be with you guys always and forever. See you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Boom. Hold the line.
Don't leave yet, Tate.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.